Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. It's Wednesday night. It is GT4 action here on Simsport Racing. Alex Goldschmidt and Steve Proudley back with you once again after what was an enthralling GT3 driver swap this past week at Spa-Francorchamps. Good evening, Steve. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Alex, and really looking forward to some good door-to-door action tonight around Silverstone. The drivers are certainly going to have fun around some of these fast flowing corners at Silverstone. I think we're in for a real door-banging race, and it's going to be an interesting one to see ends up on the podium tonight.
Indeed, and 19 points separate the top four in the standings, but Yannick Muller took the win at the Nurburgring last week ahead of Aidan Bro. Stephen Haley in third place. A few changes a bit further down the order. Charlie Crossan got a 15-second penalty and a demotion of 3 positions, having been deemed at fault for an incident. You had the likes of Ollie Gilles, Regan Mitchell, Karolis Supervicious, Gerard Debar, Stin Passpont, and Adam Isalovic rounding out the top 9. But then we look at the standings. Stephen Haley now has an 11-point advantage over Aidan Bro. Supervicious rounds out the top 3, 6 points ahead of Adam Isalovic. Yannick Muller, who won last week, currently in 5th, just 2 points ahead of Regan Mitchell. Charlie Crossland, Aaron Walker, Rich Smith, and Tim Fulbrook complete the top 10. Simply Race have a 30-point advantage in the team's championship ahead of Apex Motorsport, who are 40 points ahead of the third-place team. That is the pairing of Hedges and Mitchell at Investigation Team. Here is the starting grid, and the reason behind this is that Michael Haffenden, who not only had to serve a ban, had a 3-place grid penalty post-race, which puts Tim Fulbrook on pole position. Richard Emery will be alongside in the 115, ahead of Angus Martin and Dave Hedges. Aaron Walker, Stin Passpont, Gerard Debar, Karolis Supervicious, Regan Mitchell, Ollie Gilles rounding out the top 10, ahead of Haley, Crossland, Bro, Muller, and sundry, with Ranjiv Kalsi in 15th place. And good evening to Adam Isalovic. I understand that he has signed out for the rest of the season, so thank you very much for your participation over the first 3 rounds, Adam. And he said, "Go, Marcada, go!" And of course, he is cheering on his comrade in arms from the Netherlands, Mark Neuselings, in the Sol Mercedes AMG GT4, which simply says, "Eat my cheese" on the back of it. So it's going to be an interesting one. We're starting from the National Pit Straight. So it will be the run down to Copse Corner, then through Maggots, Beckett, Chapel, down the Hanger Straight through to Stowe, Vale, Club, Abbey, Farm Curve, Village, the Loop, Aintree, Wellington Straight, Brooklands, Luffield, and then through Woodcote, which then means that you complete 3.66 miles and 5.89 kilometres on a single solitary lap. But the title fight, Steve, is really, really heating up. Aidan Bro at both Suzuka and also at the Nurburgring. Okay, he was very disappointed last week, but he has definitely got the bit between the teeth, and he's definitely wanting to push that Audi to take a maiden victory. He was so close last week at the Nürburgring, but it wasn't to be for the Butler Powell Motorsport driver.
No, absolutely, and in the championship battle at the moment, obviously Stephen Haley's been on the back foot a little bit with the KTM. He's sort of struggling to find the pace of the Porsches and the Audi of Bro, and Bro is the man to watch. He's the man that's on the charge at the moment. We've got Robbie Stapleford doing a sterling job and sort of finishing up in the top sort of half dozen all the time. And just to mention, watching Aidan Bro in another league last night, he's coming into tonight off the back of a win last night, so he should be on a high and looking to take the battle to the front boys. And just a quick one to say good evening to Andrew Fife and Frankie Helliwell, who will both be supporting Cameron Fife tonight, who is unfortunately starting down in 30th place. So he's got a big job to do as Cameron tonight, but he enjoys his racing, and I'm sure he'll have a good time tonight and try and make a few places up in the process.
And just behind him in 31st and 32nd position are Jeffrey Wolf and Kieran Vidago. Keep your eyes on other drivers. Good to see Denise Pope. She is going to be starting in 23rd position in the number 79 Cayman.
The other thing to mention with the championship battle as well, Alex, is obviously Aaron Walker, Steve Haley's teammate, has now managed to work his way back into the top 15 after a couple of unfortunate events in other races. So he's obviously, the team game may come into effect for when the other runners come to try and overtake him if they get that far up the field, because Aaron will be he's starting in 5th place tonight.
Well, that was very much the case when we saw that, when Aaron was not able to, due to other commitments, be able to defend his Season 1 crown in Season 2. So I think you could very well be right. I think the team game is now something that some drivers will have to play, and the number one will be the one that will need that rear gunner. The Tank 991 says, go Simbro Sport. So we'll see how both Jeffrey Wolf starting in 31st, and then Gerard DeBar, who starts in 7th, just behind Stin Passpont in 6th and Aaron Walker in 5th place. But there is going to be a lot of action, a lot of talking points here at Silverstone. We will be starting, as I said earlier, in the National Pit Straight. Looks like we've got an optimum track, and the track temperature and the air temperature look very, very equal. 12 degrees air, 13 degrees track temperature, and over the next 30 minutes, looks like the weather's going to stay the same, Steve.
Absolutely, but that is a very cold temperature. The boys are going to struggle to get heat into those tyres, so we might see the cars pushing a little bit and a little bit of understeer, but we're about to find out, as they're all formed up now 2 by 2 and getting ready to take the green light.
45 minutes of racing here at the home of British Motorsport. They now make their way through Woodcote, as we are about to find out who is going to get the jump going into Copse Corner. Will it be Fulbrook or Emery? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the drivers to hit the accelerators to the floor. This time, does this become a clean start here at Silverstone? Green light, we are off and away and racing. A great anticipation there from Tim Fulbrook, and Angus Martin looked to go up the inside of Emery, and Walker was right on his back bumper going through Copse Corner, as they're now going to head through towards Maggots, Beckett and Chapel for the first time.
Absolutely flat out now, and Walker will be looking to try and make some places up while they are grouped together, because that is the KTM's best chance. But we've just seen that is Martin and Emery battling away there, and side by side, but great respect shown by both drivers. But it's looking like Martin's got that job done, and in fact Emery's getting swamped now as well, because Hedges is indeed going around the outside and looking to be followed by Walker as well.
Looks like Robbie Stapleford had a bit of a moment. He's dropped all the way down towards the back part of the order. Charlie Crossland is towards the bottom of the top 30. So at the moment, drivers looking to steal a march, and there is some great action. There is some a bit of a calamitous couple of moments towards the first part of the very first lap. But at the moment, Fulbrook has extended a lead over the HF Impala with AMR Racing Satellite Porsche. Look, Martin's right closing on him, and he's going to go for the move up the inside. That's through into Abbey, and Dave Hedges in the Maserati, the 88 investigation team Maserati MC Competizione, closing. But look at Aaron Walker, he's right up there with the Maserati. The KTM now starting to show a bit of credence here, because the KTM is a very agile and very light car in comparison with the other brands in competition.
Yeah, absolutely. As we saw from Steve Haley last week at the Nurburgring, Steve had to stay tucked into the slipstreams just to hang on to the guys in front on the straights, and that's very much what Aaron's looking to do with the Maserati. We know the Maserati is a difficult car to drive, so Aaron will be trying to push Dave, maybe force a mistake, maybe force him to leave the door open somewhere, but yeah, he's definitely putting Dave under a lot of pressure at this moment in time.
So there is Colin Dunn. There's a bit of a moment there. Someone's gone way off the circuit. That was one of the Simbro Sport cars, I believe. There's just exited stage right. So they're all clambering all over each other. Some drivers making up positional gains. Mark Neutelings has managed to make up one place. Ivan Natafas was running in 27th position, now running 35th. So a lot of drivers really trying to make best and good their intentions, but it's still very, very early days with these cold temperatures, as you were alluding to earlier, Steve.
Yeah, and I'm just watching the likes of Cameron Fife back there. He's just trying to make up some positions. He's still currently showing us in 30th, but he's really in the thick of it and showing a bit of skill there to avoid contact with cars all around him, because it's not easy. And yes, the temperatures aren't going to help, because the tyres are going to be struggling for grip. The guys are going to be pushing on through the corners. They're going to have to be really measured with that right foot. But to be fair, looking at the battle up at the front and through the middle of the field, you wouldn't really think they'd have to be careful, because everyone is pushing absolutely flat out at the moment.
Yeah, top four covered by last time around 1.3 seconds. So Martin leads from Fulbrook, Hedges, and then it is Walker. Then it's Richard Emery in 5th place. And then we've got the number 20 of Gerard Tabar, currently running in P6 at the moment. And is that me, or do I spot that Charlie Crossland is actually up into 7th position already?
Yeah, absolutely. He's made some progress. He's on his way up, and hopefully he can have a clean race this week. He picked up a penalty last week, and he picked up 2 time penalties for 2 overtakes that were completed off track. Yeah, he's looking for a clean race. We've just seen someone facing the wrong way there, so there's been some contact. Not quite sure who was involved in that, but yeah, Crossland now he's back down to 12th by the looks of it.
Yeah, behind Ranjiv Kalsi and also Aidan Bro. Someone's got an exiting stage left at a considerable rate of knots.
I think that was maybe Wiggin.
That is sure, because because he's part of the team with Ranjiv Kalsi. I recognise the Shell livery straight away. Dave Hedges closing on Tim Fulbrook, but look at Aaron Walker. I'm just keeping an eye on the lap times. Angus Martin has just put in a 2 minutes 11.3. And looks like Richard Emery has gone down a few positions at the very least, and I think he is outside of the top 13 from what I can see at the minute.
Yeah, this Maserati is a real handful, as we're just watching Dave Hedges at the moment, and he keeps closing right up under the braking zone if we're watching him. But I'm not sure if that's through choice or just the fact that Maserati hasn't got ABS. Dave does really well to drive that car as hard as he does, because let's not forget this is only his 3rd race in the Maserati, and we're just looking at Aidan Bro now in 10th still, so he'll be looking to make a bit more progress if he can.
Well, that's ninth because Ollie Gilles just behind him, so Bro has made the move in the Audi, and he's about 1.1 seconds behind Steve Haley. So these two are just 11 points apart coming into this round here at Silverstone. And afterwards, we do have 2 more rounds. We head to Spa-Francorchamps on the 2nd of December for the penultimate round. And then it is Brands Hatch Grand Prix on the 9th of December to crown our Season 3 champion. So Aidan Bro really putting the pedal to the metal in the Audi. Obviously explained last time out at Suzuka about the brakes. Oh, there's contact a bit further behind, and that looks to be Schilstra and Wilkes, and that was going through into coming out of Club Corner, so not exactly the best run as Charlie Crossland trying to go up the inside of Ollie Gilles, and that is into Village. He makes the move stick, so nice and cleanly done as Ranjiv Kalsi trying to put it around the outside of the loop. Oh, tag from behind. Gilles goes right into the back of Crossland. That will definitely be investigated by the stewards post-race evening. And there, look, Denise Pope, she's about to hit the top 15. Well, she runs wide coming out of Aintree. And Ollie Gilles, and there's more dramas. Stapleford off, and I think he's probably hit the barriers going towards the bridge on the Wellington Straight. It is an absolute scramble going into Brooklands roundabout now. We're about 14th backwards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very difficult as well when you've got cars running off like that and they're trying to rejoin as safely as they can, but they're coming back onto the track in the middle of a big pack. So I think all in all, Denise Pope did pretty well to get back in and back up to racing speed as quick as she did. And she's having a fantastic race at the moment, up into 16th place. So a couple more places, maybe, sorry, it's dropped to 17th, it's just updated, but a couple more places, if she can keep going, she can maybe get into that all-important top 15 for next week.
Yeah. And I think it's the top 20 that score points in this championship at the moment. Let's go to one of the replays. This is from earlier on. You can see Evan Natafas in the middle. And there is Stapleford. Okay, there's a little bit of a glancing blow from the 49 Audi of Steve Allen on Evan Natafas. Stapleford just behind. Oh, and there's a tap from behind from, that is, I think... That is Jeffrey Wolf. Oh, and there was Gavin Utley, who's touched the side of Evan Natafas, and then that has basically made Robbie Stapleford an unwanted passenger on that front. So Denise Pope starting to move away. She's about 7.5 tenths ahead of Stim Paspon as Jeffrey Wolf just absolutely savages one of the cones off of the runoff area. Sipa Vicious trying to get past Wilkes. Yeah,
he's got that job done. He's got that move done, and he should be up into 15th now. That was a great move from Sipa Vicious. And let's not forget he's got some great pace. So he will be looking to make a move up the field as well. But Wilkes is following him very, very close attention and probably not happy to be overtaken at that point there. So he's looking to try and stay on the back of that Porsche. But the Porsches are very, very agile around Silverstone, and they are a pretty quick car around here.
just like Charlie Crossland proved, going side by side through Abbey Farm and then into the loop on the inside.
Got the cut back there. He got the cut back, but he just lost the back end, which didn't allow him to get the power down. Otherwise, I think he would have had that move done.
Yeah, but Crossland has definitely got the measure of that car once again, but he's been in dramas. He's been rear-ended by Ollie Geel. Sipavicius, who actually started in 8th place, has started that comeback drive, and the left-hand side of that Porsche very much second hand at the minute. We're going to go back to another replay. So this is Charlie Crossland, and that is, I think he's just lost a bit of momentum there. There's no contact between him, and I think that is Stin Pasmont just up ahead. Stin Pasmont dive bombs up the inside and then tags into Richard Emery. Gerard Zabar and Charlie Crossland have nowhere to go, so effectively Stin Pasmont caused a bit of a melee there, and then Michael Haffenden has a bit of a moment of his own coming out of that corner. So it has been, I think, truth be told here, Steve, out of all the GT4 races we've had so far in seasons 1, 2 and 3, this has had the biggest amount of bang for your buck in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, the back end there, they're really struggling to get themselves sorted out around Silverstone, and they're running very, very close together, and it's creating its own problems because all these cars are very, very different. They all have strong points, weak points. Some of them you can break that bit later, and that's what's causing the problems. I think it's just down to the drivers and just down to the difference in cars and just racing so close together tonight. And the run-offs as well, as we're seeing a few people maybe abusing track limits a little bit as well, and they're running very wide and rejoining and just maybe getting a bit of door banging going on, and the stewards are going to be very busy. That's all I need to say.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wolf got a good switch back there on Ollie Geel going through into club, but then that is a definitive abuse of track limits there, Jeffrey Wolf, if you don't mind me saying so, coming out of club. So he really does need to give that position back to Ollie Geel, because Geel actually got the move done back up the inside of him going through into club corner. They've got Jeffrey Wolf, and also that is the number. Just trying to keep an eye on who's behind. Another
incident just behind as well. Just another incident.
It just seems like it has become, become a meeting game of pinball at the minute. Just cars careering off of each other. But some of the drivers trying to do their very best to move forward, and that includes the likes of Yannick Müller, who, is trying to keep pace, and that was with Gerard Bar. Aaron Walker has kept pace with Dave Hedges. He's only 0.3 of a second adrift, and Walker here, Steve, is nearly half a tenth up per lap on Hedges at the moment. So that KTM really showing its agility around here at Silverstone, especially as we're getting the onboard from the front windscreen cam of the KTM Crossbow GT4.
Yeah, it's a perfect vantage point just to see how hard that Maserati is to drive, as we'll see Dave making a very good job of it, but it's just not quite as clean and tidy as maybe Dave would be in another car, because he's a top-class driver, is Dave. But Aaron, yeah, like you say, is doing very, very well to hang on to it, and he's closing right up on there. The KTM has got such a power-to-weight ratio. It's so light that it's fantastic on the brakes, and I don't think there's a better car on the grid in the braking zone, but it just lacks a little bit on the top speed, so he hasn't got the punch to get past the cars. But yeah, I mean, Martin and Fulbrook, they're still in close attention of each other. Further down, looking at Haley and Bro, they're a second and a half apart at the minute, so it doesn't look like Aiden's managing to close that gap on Haley. Although, there's a long way to go, 32 minutes left to go. Aiden won't give up until the checkered flag falls, so there's a lot more to come from that battle, I think.
Yeah, very much the case on the last lap. Just keeping an eye on the times between Haley and Bro. Haley, a 2 minute 11.5. Aiden Bro, a 2 minute 11.133, so he was over 3.5 tenths of a second quicker, whilst Michael Haffenden has got past Stin Pasmont for position. That's for 16th, with Simon Wilkes at the moment currently in the number 12 BMW, rounding out the top 15. So Fulbrook leads by nearly 6 tenths of a second ahead of Angus Martin. Dave Hedges, Aaron Walker and Gerard Zabar, with Walker, who we're riding on board with now in the KTM Crossbow, the number 99 with Simply Race Team. Regan Mitchell, as Walker gets close up in the braking zone.
Absolutely. That's what I was saying. I mean, he's really got to be alert as Aaron, because it's all very well following that close, but he's got to be so aware that the braking zone on the Maserati is so much bigger than the KTM, and it'd be very easy for him to tag David Hedges in the braking zone.
Yeah, so just behind, about 9/10 of a second behind, well, probably not even that now, is Gerard de Bar from Simbro Sport in the number 20 BMW, then Yannick Müller in the 77 Mercedes, Regan Mitchell in the 69 Maserati, Stephen Haley, the Season 2 GT4 champion, currently rounding out the top 8 ahead of Aidan Bro in the 557 Audi, with Kieran Vidago, who's been absolutely scything his way through the field. He started 32nd, he's now in 10th place.
You took the words out of my mouth, mate. I was going to mention Kieran. He was my next point of contact. And Kieran is really on a charge, and it's good to see him having a good race after his PC crash last week and dropped him off the grid. Another man that is making a couple of places up with a couple of fans.
Oh, Vidago up the inside of Bro. He's now taken 9th. There's now Yannick Müller is trying to get on terms with Gerard de Bar, who also is trying to get on terms with Aaron Walker. Then you add Mitchell and Haley to that potential opportunity, and then Vidago and Bro. This could be an absolutely titanic scrap for what could be the final step on the rostrum. And when you look at it from this perspective, there is only one position separating the top 2 in the championship, with Haley still ahead of Bro in 8th and 9th respectively.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to go down to the flags. We've just seen Aaron have to be very, very defensive there against De Bar, who was very respectful and literally had to bring that BMW to a stop to avoid hitting him. But we've also got Regan Mitchell, who we know is very, very quick in the Maserati, right on the back of De Bar now, and there on the back of Muller. So it's all looking a little bit close now, and it's all looking about 3 wide coming down the straight.
15 minutes done, 30 to go. Gerard de Bar trying to go up the inside of Yannick Müller. That's getting close between the Mercedes, but the BMW forces the issue and gets through. And now he's looking up the inside of Aaron Walker to go up into what will be 4th position. The KTM doesn't get that much run on the BMW, but now through into Woodcote they come. That was a brilliant textbook move there from Gerard de Bar, as now Regan Mitchell is being closed in on by Steve Haley. And then Vidago is only a second away from the tail end of this battle. A little bit of a run wide there from Gerard de Bar as they head through into Maggots and then into Beckett's and Chapel. But still some great close quarter racing in the top 10 at the moment, with 29 minutes and 10 seconds still to go.
Yeah, and if Steve Haley can make a move or two as soon as possible, that will do his championship the world of good, because he needs to put cars between himself and Aidan Bro. But at this moment in time, he's like his teammate Aaron, he's keeping pace, but he's struggling to get the pass done. As we're just looking at Kieran Vidago, as he's looking like he's going to try and go around the outside, but that's not going to work. He's not going to beat the KTM on the brakes. I don't think. He's going to literally have to force the door open and force his way through at some point.
Well, he's looking to try and do that now. He's looking on the old late break, doing the Daniel Ricciardo. This is going through in towards Club. Yeah, a little bit of a run, too much curb there from Kieran Vidago, but he looks to be the quickest one out there with a 2-minute 10.059, the fastest lap of this race so far, as they hurtle their way through into Copse. We're on to lap number 8 of this race here, round 4 of the Season 3 of GT4 here on Simsport Racing. So head to simsport-racing.com to get involved with the community. Over 620 members and climbing. So this is getting really, really interesting now, as Yannick Müller closing on Aaron Walker. And I think in some respects, I think what Aidan Bro is doing, he's playing the strategy call here, isn't he? Because look, he's not pushing, he's not going after it, but he's waiting to see what happens in front, because there are 3 two-car battles, and if one of them has if one of those battles has an incident written all over it, he will be one of the first people to try and capitalise and thread the eye of the needle. Is now Yannick Müller trying to go round the outside of Regan Mitchell, heading through Luffield and into Woodcote. And yeah, look, Mitchell was the first person to hit to go with the Maserati in Season 1, as Walker gets the tag from behind by Müller. Off into the gravel goes Aaron Walker, and the front end hits the tyre barriers. That was definitely commentator's curse. My bad there.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. That wasn't good for Walker. Obviously, it's going to put him well down the field, and depending what damage he's got as to whether he'll be able to rejoin at all. Obviously, Muller takes that position, but I think that'll be subject to a steward's inquiry. Regan Mitchell, Haley, everybody moves up. But it looks like he's pulled off and waiting for him.
Yeah, and he's dropped himself right out of the top 15 at the way things are going, as Gerard de Bar now closing on Dave Hedges. Gerard de Bar, this has actually been his best GT4 performance with us here at Simsport. I remember when I first started commentating on him when he was...
Sorry to interrupt, Alex, but it looks like Haley's had an issue as well. He's dropped and he's down in 15th, so and he's dropping further.
Oh my goodness me.
So Haley's had an issue at some point, and obviously Aidan Bro's now got the advantage in this race.
Yeah, he's currently 7th, and he's nearly a second and a half behind Kieran Vidago. And looking at it from a championship perspective, this really has turned the tables on Steve Haley, because effectively, just by an assumptive calculation, because I've got no calculator with me at the moment. Oh, Gerard de Bar looking cheeky and trying to go around the outside of Dave Hedges.
Yeah, he's looking to try and gain that inside line, which he's got it done. I didn't think he was far enough up the inside, but it didn't look like Dave Hedges could get the power down. He didn't have enough purchase on those tyres to get the grip, and that's let de Bar through into 3rd place. Dave Hedges 4th, his teammate Regan Mitchell in 5th, Kieran Vidago 6th. So here we're looking at Haley now.
Oh, and there was a bit of a moment with Muller, and Haley has gone off to the left of the track, and that's heading into Maggots. So, yeah, I think, Muller got... It was like literally they banged door panels.
Yeah, so I think it was... I'm not sure what happened with Haley, whether he thought that was his fault and he was basically waiting for Muller, because he could have rejoined the track a lot quicker, so maybe that was the case, but we'll find out, I'm sure, at the end of the race. As we're looking at
sideways!
Hedges giving it full sideways, full drift. That was Regan Mitchell, sorry, but full credit to him. It was Hedges.
Hedges.
Yeah, because Mitchell's got through. We've missed that one as well. Mitchell actually got through to 4th, and Hedges, those rear tyres will certainly have some heat in them now, as he's defending hard from Vidago. Aidan Brown now really just needs to, as you said, be sensible, as we just see him cutting the corner a little bit there, but he just needs to be sensible, bring that car home. All the points, looking at where his championship rival is now, he's down in 17th, so he's looking good for getting ever closer to that lead, if not taking the lead.
Well, I think, isn't it? Is it top 15 or top 20 that's scoring?
Top 20 score points.
Okay. Well, look at it from this perspective. Okay, the top 20 at the moment with 24 minutes and 13 seconds to go. As long as Kieran Vidago does not interrupt me whilst he's trying to find his way past Dave Hedges, who I think his tyres are being stepped. Okay, we're going to go to a replay here. So that's Aaron. There's Aaron Walker. And this is going through Woodcote. Okay, so you've got... So there is Hedges, and that is going through Copse. He's run a little bit wide. Gerard de Bar is on his back bumper going through into Maggots. And a little bit further behind, yes, you can see that Muller was in the distance. Aaron Walker got a little bit of a hit. I think it was Regan Mitchell was the 3rd car that was probably an unwilling participant. But at the moment...
Vidago's got past Hedges there now, hasn't he? He's up to 5th place. He's going to be trying to chase down Regan Mitchell, and I would say Vidago has really got his eyes on a podium spot at this moment in time.
Yeah, that's going to be rather interesting, because between 5th and 7th it's a gap of just over a second. But with being on lap number 10, Tim Fulbrook leads Angus Martin by 0.465 seconds. Gerard de Bar in 3rd place, Regan Mitchell 4th, Kieran Vidago on your screens is currently in 5th place ahead of Dave Hedges, Aidan Bro in 7th ahead of Charlie Crossland, Karolis Sapavicius and Rajiv Kowski rounding out the top 10. Okay, there was a tag from behind courtesy of Muller, and then there's... Oh, now that's what's happened. Muller got mullered, as our broadcast director whispered in our ears a little bit earlier on. I have to give him credit for that one, because he thought about that quicker than us two did. But it was just like... Muller had Haley going up his inside, and there was a slight touch between the two, but it was enough to unsettle Yannick Muller. And so that could have just been a little bit of a racing incident, but just sort of the domino rally effect.
Yeah, I mean,
of what has happened.
Initial impression from myself, looking at that, it was a racing incident, and I don't think Steve would have got any penalty for not waiting there, because I think that was all the result of the Walker and Muller incident. So I don't think Steve really had a part to play in that so much. But it's easy, it's easy to come to those conclusions now. But I'm sure the stewards will look at that from a few different camera angles. Just for I know Frankie and Cameron's granddad were watching, just to give them an update that he's now up into 28th place. I'm sure they're waiting to see how he's doing, if they don't already know.
well put there. So rounding out the top 20 at the moment, from 11th, it's the number 75 of Mark Rannebury. Simon Wilkes in the 12, currently in 12th place, ahead of Michael Haffenden from HF Impala in the 861. Stin Pasmont, Jeffrey Wolf now up from 31st to 15th place. Steve Haley in 16th, ahead of Yannick Müller, Gavin Utley, and then we've got Lucas Centales and Denise Pope now rounding out the top 20. So that's really good to see a few new drivers, some who joined us at the beginning of Season 3. And I think Centales is also a new entrant, as that is Charlie Crossland going up the inside of Aidan Bro. So Bro at the moment, he's still got a lot of breathing space in comparison to where he is. But then you look at who's in this championship fight. Okay, Adam Isalovic has signed out for the rest of the season. So that's basically one driver that we have to discount. Yannick Müller, currently in 17th, will score points. Regan Mitchell, currently 3rd on the podium. Charlie Crossland now has overtaken Aidan Bro. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I'm not going to sort of try and do any sort of relevant calculations, because we'll update you with all the relevant standings at the next round at Spa-Francorchamps in a week's time, when all the steward inquiries and everything like that. It's going to look really, really different. I think Steve Haley will lose the championship lead.
He is the biggest loser tonight, I believe, at this moment in time. Currently down in 16th. He's going to score some points, but it's not going to be enough. The gap is going to certainly be closed, if not disappear, and lose the lead, like you say. But there's been some fantastic racing so far. There's been some door banging, but those boys up at the front, I mean, we sort of got Fullbrook, Martin, and we've got Mitchell in 3rd now, Vidago now in 4th. So Kieran is really charging for that podium, but obviously he's got Regan Mitchell, who we know is a hard man to pass. We've got Charlie Crossland trying to get past Dave the Drift Hedges, as he's stepping that back end out every corner he's coming to now. I'm not sure if he's just having fun or whether it's just a curse of the Maserati at the moment.
Well, it's whether those rear tyres are stepped as a result of all that drifting. Look how twitchy that car is. No ABS, no traction control. As Charlie Crossland is parking the Porsche exactly where he needs to. And if he gets that done there, that's going to be a good job. Nice work going through into Village. So Charlie Crossland will now close the door, going through the loop and then into Aintree. As Hedges goes sideways again, and Aidan Bro there to capitalise quicker than he can take the word jump. So well done, Aidan Bro, up to 7th position. Tokyo Drift Hedges down to 8th place.
Yeah, absolutely, and he just needs a little bit more patience, which is all very easy to say when you've got a car coming up the inside of you. But it's looking like Angus Martin has now taken the lead of this race and passed Tim Fullbrook. It'd be interesting to see how Regan Mitchell and Vidago can close that gap up, because it looks like Fullbrook hasn't got an answer at the moment for Martin.
No, the gap between Fullbrook and Mitchell is currently around about 6. It's going down. It was 6.2. It's now, he's taken half a second out of Fullbrook. So what was around about a 9/10 of a second advantage initially for Tim Fullbrook, it has now extended to another 6/10 the other way, plus for Angus Martin, who now leads on lap number 13. Fullbrook trying to give chase. But then I think now that Regan Mitchell will see the fact that Fullbrook no longer leading. So I think Fullbrook, he got a really, really good start off the line and literally went into cops. No one could really touch him. But everyone else now is starting to claw back, as is Yannick Müller, who's now trying to close up on Steve Haley. So Haley in 16th and Müller in 17th, but they've got Jeffrey Wolf around about, not that far behind, far in front now. And look, Stin Passpon. So there's an opportunity for both Haley and Müller to get themselves back up into the top 15.
Absolutely.
Kieran Vidago has got he's closing on Regan Mitchell, as Gerard de Bar's now dropped to about 2.5 seconds back, and Charlie Crossland is chasing the number 20 down.
That's another interesting fact for next week. Obviously, Haley, he's currently down in 16th. If he can just make one more place up, that puts him on pole for next week, which won't do his championship any harm at all, will it? If he can get on the first couple of rows next week. So it's not all lost for Steve Haley. He's possibly going to lose the lead tonight, but he could be starting very close to the sharp end next week.
Yeah, very true. As we see on our screens, Gavin Utley who's ahead of Lucas Zentales. Utley started in 29th and is currently 18th. Zentales started 35th, and now that's his 17th position gained in just under 19 minutes as Vidago trying to put the pressure on to Regan Mitchell, but we know how good Regan Mitchell can be under pressure, especially when you have a car like a Maserati. But a little bit curb taken on the inside through Woodcote. They come across the line. Vidago looking again to the outside, looking into Copse. Both go on the brakes. Vidago pulls in behind.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be measured as Vidago. Now he's got to, when he makes a move on a driver like Regan Mitchell, he's got to do it with purpose. He's got to make it stick, because Regan is going to defend very well, and if he doesn't, it's going to cost them time. And they don't want to lose time. They want to be making time up to Fullbrook ahead.
Sipavicius trying to now get on level pegging terms with Tokyo Drifter Hedges, as he's now going to be nicknamed all night and probably for the rest of the GT4 season. Oh, Sipavicius does a nice little switchback. And the Maserati of Hedges having to go side by side. That is coming out of Aintree down the Wellington Straight. They're going to head into Brooklands and that's Stowe actually. That was down the Hanger Straight coming out of Chapel. As we are about to have another 15 minutes completed in around 25 seconds time as we go into the final third of what's been an action-packed, dramatic fourth round of GT4 Season 3 here on Simsport Racing. Sipavicius still trying to thread the eye of the needle, but Hedges still not giving any quarter whatsoever. As Vidago's made the move up the inside of Mitchell through Copse. He's made the move stick.
Yeah, that's it. Once he's got past, I'm sure he'll pull away from Mitchell, because the Porsche is just that bit easy for him to drive, and Vidago is a fast man. He's certainly on the move with his lap times, so he's going to now start the job of chasing Tim Fullbrook down. I am just looking back down the field, and it's looking like Cameron Fife's having a really good battle. He's in 28th, but he keeps swapping places with 27th at the moment, so he's looking like he's having a good ding-dong down there. And there's a couple of other guys having a close battle. We've got Colin Dunn and Ollie Gill, I believe it is, battling 21st, 22nd. As we've just seen Cameron Fife there come through in the background in a pack of 4 cars there, so he's probably going to be really enjoying himself, and he's trying to get himself up into 27th place at the moment.
Yeah, past Niall Schleter, as Hedges has lost out to Sipavicius. Hashtag Drifter Dave. Oh, brilliantly done by our broadcast director as always, Mr. Mike Yao. Well on point there, my good friend. But also, you have to sort of look at other drivers that have really been pushing hard. I've just noticed something. Denise Pope was running 20th. She's dropped outside of the top 20. What's happened to Denise Pope? Yeah,
not quite sure. I mean, obviously, as we said...
just looking at the timing, it was just showing 20th there, but looking on the timing on the left-hand side of the screen, Gavin Utley, so Ollie Gill's up into 20th. There's been a lot of changes. Pixley is in 29th. Now, Richard Pixley was a lot further up the field. He started 22nd, and he's just been ambushed by Cameron Fife going around the outside of Niall Schleter, and he gets the move done. Move of the evening. Well done, Cameron Fife, as now Pixley goes up the inside of Schleter in the 37 Porsche. Wow, that was a hell of a move. Yeah, Denise Pope has dropped to 24th place. So you've got Jill, Emery, and Buck in the 22. Sean Buck, as there is Michael Haffenden. He's battling away with Simon Wilkes in the number 12 BMW. So they now make their way across the line. So lap number 15. And the gap between Angus Martin and Tim Fullbrook, with 12 minutes and 40 still to go on the clock, is 8.5 tenths of a second. But Kieran Vidago is absolutely flying at the minute. I mean, he's got the gap down to about 4.9 seconds between himself and Tim Fullbrook. And there is Fullbrook, there is Martin, as they're making their way through in towards what looks to be Club Corner. So it's a 1, 2, 3 for Stuttgart at the moment, courtesy of Porsche at the minute. So Vidago really has got to find a bit more pace
He's
in
got
the next
his
12 minutes.
Yeah, he's got his work cut out, I think, in 12 minutes. Never say never. The commentators curse and all that, but to be fair, that's a big gap to make up in 12 minutes. I'm just looking at the lap times. He is lapping faster, and absolutely, to be fair, his last lap was a second faster than Martin's and a second and a half faster than Fulbrook. So, all right, maybe I retract that last statement. He maybe can catch them, as we're looking at Steve Hurley down in 17s now.
Yeah, that's just absolutely ridiculous how quick Vidago is in comparison. But considering the fact that the top two, they are literally running nearly line astern, as Haley trying to close on Lucas Sentalis, who has got his way up into what was 16th. A little bit of a run wide there from Haley, who has got Yannick Muller still behind him. So they're now going to go through Maggots, Beckett's and into Chapel. And just the massive commitment from Steve Haley, kicking up the dust on the right-hand side, as Entalis does the same, going through Beckett's. So these guys and girls are not giving up. There is still 11 minutes to go. Charlie Crosland gets past Regan Mitchell for fourth place, and that was a brilliant move there from the Team Fordzilla driver. Really nice and cleanly done, as Aidan Bro is going to look to try and get past Gerard de Bar, and could look to do so going through into what will be Abbey.
Yeah, Edinburgh's having a good race this evening. He's sort of, whether he's got the pace or not, he's having a very, very sensible race. I think he's taken stock of who's around him in the championship, and he's basically doing what he needs to do. He's seen some hard battling. He's probably just happy that he's come through all that unscathed, and he's where he is on the track at the moment.
Well, hold the phone, Steve Proudley. Charlie Crosland has put in a 2-minute 9.627, and he also took the fastest lap time at the Nurburgring last week. So Charlie Crosland making those little incremental gains courtesy of a fastest lap point. And that can make all the difference, can't it?
Absolutely, yeah. When the championship's as tight as it is, and it's only a 6-round championship, every single point counts, whether it's a 25-round championship or 6-round. I think that may be more important on these short championships, as we're looking at Steve Haley there as well. He needs to try and make some places up, as we're looking at Aidan Brown now, definitely trying to come up the inside of Gerard de Bar. Yeah, he's trying to make the gap there for the Audi to get through. De Bar not giving any quarter, and as they say, if you give someone an inch, they will take a mile. Edinburgh keeping it side by side with the number 20 BMW through Maggots. This is going to be crazy, but Bro gets it done. He runs a little bit wide. De Bar also trying to go around the outside through the next corner, but Edinburgh hangs on. Brilliantly done there by the 557 Audi. That just shows the calibre of this individual, and it's great to have him as part of the paddock. Yeah, absolutely. We've got some fantastic drivers now, throughout the field, but when they can race as close as that, it's fantastic. And we're seeing Haley, look at this, he's right in the thick of it again. He knows how important it is to get back into that top 15, to take advantage and get a great grid position for next week. This race is not about just tonight for Steve Haley. It's about the championship, and it's about his start position next week as well. Well, think of it this way. Lucas Sentalis is not thinking about that reverse top 15 pole position, because he's now past Stin Paspont, who is in that privied area of being in the top 15. He's now in 15th, as now Jeffrey Wolf is being pounced on by Steve Haley, and Haley has actually got past him. Yeah, that surprised me. He got alongside the BMW, but I thought the BMW might have the legs, but I think Steve completed the move in the braking zone there, so a good move from Steve, and that sort of moved him back up a place now, and just that bit close to that top 15. Right, I'm just keeping an eye on some lap times at the front of the field. Charlie Crosland's still consistently running in the high 209s. He's done a 209.918. Regan Mitchell's times are starting to drop off at the moment, because Aidan Bro, last lap around, took nearly a second out of the Maserati, but he's 4.1 seconds behind. Whether he needs to, literally every, I think probably the next 3 laps, he needs to decimate at least a second and a half out of there. And now you can see that the gap between Charlie Crosland and Regan Mitchell is now 2.4 seconds. Bro has eked into that by about a tenth and a bit.
But he's got Debar and Sipavicius breathing down the rear exhaust pipes on that Audi, as Mark Randenbury is trying to defend against Michael Haffenden.
I'm just going to say, just to jump in with Vidago as well, he took a second and a half out of Fulbrook and 2 seconds out of Martin on that last lap as well. So Vidago, he's got that gap down to 2.7 with 7 minutes to go. He needs to maintain this pace, but it is on, it's game on, he could catch them.
7 minutes on the clock remaining here at Silverstone for round four GT4 Season 3 here on Simsport Racing. A big thank you to you all, wherever you are, for joining us. As up the inside of Debar goes Sipavicius, and that was through, I think, Stowe Corner. Yeah, Sipavicius nearly side by side once again with Debar, who looks towards the outside going into the chicane. They both go hard on the brakes, and Sipavicius takes 7th position from the number 20 from Simbro Sport, and that is allowing Aidan Bro to go off into the distance. And last time round, Bro had a 2 minute 12.7 second lap time, so whether the tyres on the Audi are starting to fade a little bit, but the gap now between him and Regan Mitchell is now around the 3.8 second mark in terms of the gap between them, so it could be a bit of a tall order. However, this has really opened up the championship heading into Spa-Francorchamps next week.
It has indeed, and with 6 minutes on the clock, Haley is in pole position for next week. At the moment, he has moved up to that 15th place. He's got Passpont half a second behind him, but
what has happened?
Back into the lead.
Yeah,
Angus Martin has cracked under the pressure. He's dropped it by the looks of it, made some sort of mistake and let Fulbrook back through. And Vidago 1.3 back. Crossland only 0.7 back from Vidago as well. So this is going to be a four-way battle at the moment. Very, very shortly for the lead, it could be a four-way battle as we go when we go into the last lap. By the looks of it. Yeah,
and the gap between them all. Steve, you're not going to believe this. It's 2.7 seconds from first to fourth.
Look at Crossland there. Crossland, that's pushing the track limits and a little bit more. I think he was nearly at Brands Hatch there.
I thought he was going to be ending up at somewhere like Manukura at that rate with that off-track excursion. But in many respects, that's how much it means to these drivers, how hard they're going to push. And someone's kicking up the dust. That could have been Kieran Vidago or maybe even Angus Martin. But now they come down out of Aintree down the Wellington Straight.
What a story, though. What a story. If Kieran Vidago can do this from 32nd on the grid to the podium, is a fantastic story in its own right. But if he does manage to get the lead, that is the drive of the season.
Right, okay, let's just have a look at this replay here. Okay, this is Angus Martin. Oh, and he's... Oh!
Team orders.
There is team orders. Now, my question is, because Tim Fulbrook is currently 10th in the championship, let's not forget, he was runner-up last season.
And that's Vidago into second with Crossland in third, and Crossland going to the inside.
Crossland trying to go side by side with Vidago there. Martin waiting to see if he can have an opportunity to become the rear gunner for Tim Fulbrook. This is all kicking off with 4 minutes to go. Vidago loses a bit of momentum there, and that's going into the loop and then into Aintree before they head down the Wellington Straight. But oh my goodness me, Charlie Crossland, he's on a mission, because at the end of the day, I think if my mathematics might be, well, this is assumptive to a certain extent, I think that Crossland could end up leading the standings the way things are going, because Aidan Bro is currently in 6th place, Steve Haley is in 15th, Yannick Müller all the way down in 17th position. This means that we'll have a new leader for the first time this season after 4 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie's a great driver, but I would just say that'll all be due to down to Stewart's inquiries, I would imagine. So it just hold the front page, and we will announce that tomorrow, I think, because Charlie is a quick driver, but sometimes the moves are a little bit questionable. But hopefully, he's getting the job done. He's got the lap times in, and he's pushing now. Fulbrook's got that 1.8 seconds with 3 minutes left on the clock, just under, but he has got Crossland and Vidago chasing hard now.
Yeah, Sipavicius now gets past Aidan Bro for 6th position. I mean, Aidan's kept it really, really consistent this evening. He's kept his nose out of trouble, and he's known that if there has been a faster car trying to get on level terms with him, he's had to play the safe. Sometimes, okay, in some respects, you've got to look at what Alain Prost did in his years in Formula One. The way that you win a championship is always sometimes being a bit mathematical. You're not going to always go out, you might not be in the best car. You might not have the best amount of tracks to race around. But if you can keep it consistent and have that opportunity to keep yourself in the fight, then that's what Aidan Bro is doing. And that's why he's with a team such as Butler, Paul Motorsport, as we've got just over 2 minutes to go.
I mean, that's it. If Aidan Bro can win this championship, then Silverstone tonight could be the driver of the season for him. Even though it's nothing to shout home about on the results sheet, he's done what he needs to do. He's kept himself out of trouble. He's been sensible. We see it so many times with some of the top drivers, like Haley does. He sits there. He doesn't try and force the issue a lot of the time. He knew, like last week, he's leading the championship. He just waited for opportunities. He didn't try and force it, and that's exactly what Aidan's done this evening, and that is a championship driver.
Yes, very, very true indeed. Very true indeed.
Jeffrey Wolf picking up a drive-through for what will be track limits, so that's going to drop him out of 19th. Robbie Stapleford not having the best of evenings, down in 20th. He's probably going to pick up a position there when Jeffrey Wolf takes his drive-through. But now we are seeing Crossland right on the back of Fulbrook now, and he's going to be looking to have a go once they go through Copse, I would imagine. And he's weaving around, he's letting Tim Fulbrook know he's there. But also Vidago, he's 3/10 back. Well, he's not 3/10, is he? He's there. He's right with them.
Wow, this is going to be an absolute slobber knocker because we're into the final 50 seconds of this race. So this effectively makes it the 21st and final lap of round 4 here on Simsport Racing for Season 3 GT4. And, a little bit sideways there for Crossland. He nearly lost the back end. But now he's trying to go side by side with Fulbrook as they come down.
And look at Vidago tucked in there, just absorbing that slipstream and really getting on the back of Crossland. Absolutely flat out now. And really, it's who can get the most traction through the corners, who can push the cars to get the grip. Fulbrook's doing a fantastic job of defending, but it's looking like Crossland is trying to get around the outside to take the inside for the next corner. And I think he's going to get that move done there.
Yes. Very nicely done by Charlie Crossland. But look, Fulbrook runs wide, and that is going to give an opportunity for Kieran Vidago. The timer has now struck 0 as we now go into the dying few corners of this race into Abbey for the final time. Through the left at Farm Curve. The right-hander at Village coming up as Vidago sizing up Fulbrook for a move, and he's trying to keep it round towards the outside of Village to get the inside cut for the loop. Can't work it through that particular time as Crossland now comes out of Aintree. Just 3 more corners remain after the Wellington Straight, and it has been an absolutely blistering race.
He's got the run. He's just going to have to tuck back in there, back into Fulbrook's slipstream, but Vidago's definitely, he's got the run. He's going to pull out. He's going to try and force it down the inside, and he might just get that move done.
Right into Brooklands, now into the right at Luffield. Vidago's gotten the move done with 2 corners to spare, but powering out of the final corner. Charlie Crossland in the number 66 from Team Fordzilla, having started in 12th position, will come out of Woodcote for the final time, and he takes the checkered flag by 0.861 seconds. Well done, Kieran Vidago, the drive of the season from 32nd to 2nd position. Tim Fulbrook nobly tried to hang on as much as he could, taking 3rd and finishing up the rostrum, and it was a 1-2-3-4 for Porsche, courtesy of Angus Martin. Regan Mitchell in 5th place ahead of Sipavicius. Aidan Bro in the 557 takes 7th ahead of Gerard DeBar. Drifter Dave Hedges finished in 9th ahead of Michael Haffenden. Ranjiv Kalsi, Mark Rannebury, Simon Wilkes. Lucas Zentalis also did a handsome drive from 35th to 14th. That's an increase of 21 positions, but subject to official ratification. Steve Haley takes 15th, and with it will take the reverse top 15 pole position slot for Spa-Francorchamps in just a week's time. What a race, Steve. What a race.
Absolutely mega race, absolutely fantastic. It's what we've come to expect from the GT4s. And just for the viewers that are new to the channel, please just hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned just for a few more minutes, because we will hopefully have some interviews from the podium guys very, very shortly. But yeah, there's Cameron Fife. He brought it home in 30 seconds. Obviously had a couple of incidents towards the end of the race, and he just lost out. But we saw Cameron having some great battles in the middle of that race, and putting a fantastic move around the outside. Forgive me, I can't remember who it was, but it was an absolutely awesome move at one point.
Niall Schleter. Schleter, he did. That was the overtake of the evening, I have to say, going around the outside. I mean, yeah, hats off to Cameron. You know, he might be battling at the back of the grid, but he is definitely providing us with some fantastic racing here on Simsport Racing itself, as we look forward to what's going to be happening next week. But I think what we'll have to do then, Steve, is very shortly, I don't know if we've got some interviews waiting in the booth, but wow, Silverstone provides more bang for your buck than you can ever believe.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd like to say it was fantastic racing, and we do expect it from these GT4s. They are very, very sort of competitive with each other. That we saw a little bit of door banging. We saw the early sort of 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes maybe. There was a little bit of door rubbing, which resulted in a few cars, shall we say, going wider than they needed to. A few incidents here and there, but generally the racing was fantastic, and certainly the top 15 were absolutely battling very, very hard, and we saw some fantastic drives. And Edinburgh, I mean, that was a good drive from him tonight, and that, like we said, that is what to win a championship, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, so I think, Steve, I'll leave it to your good self, mate, because it looks like there's some drivers waiting to be spoken to.
No worries, I will pop down to the interview room now and I will have a chat with them.
Good evening, gentlemen. Fantastic racing tonight. I am just going to go to Charlie Crossland first, as he, in the dying seconds of that race, managed to take the top step of the podium. Charlie, well done, mate. That was a good result for you. Did you enjoy that?
I did.
Yeah, incident-free race this week, or do you think there'll be a few stewards' inquiries? Anything you're worried about, or do you think that that podium's going to stand tonight?
It's going to stand, but it's not at me.
You had some really, really good pace there this evening. I mean, had you picked up any damage, or was the car good? Because you were still putting in some 209s towards the end.
Yeah, I had 10 seconds of damage from the start.
Great stuff. And plans for next week?
Same again, except from no incidents again.
Same again. So obviously you'll be starting from 15th, so it'll be a battle through and race hard and try and take the top step again. I don't suppose there's any other way for you, is there, Charlie? Good man. Well done for tonight. And just going to move on now. Second place, Kieran Vidago. I say second place. You were in second for, I think, corner and a half, 2 corners. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
It was a hard race, was that? But I mean, that's got to be one of the results of all the seasons we've had, because you started, was it 32nd?
35th.
35th you started, right?
Oh, no way. 32nd, I think. No, I can't remember.
Well, it was a long way back, and you were. I'm pretty sure you were 32nd, but 32nd to second is an absolutely awesome drive, mate. That is well done and a well-deserved second place. Like I say, albeit Tim Fulbrook hung on really well towards the end there, but I think. Charlie sort of tripped you up a little bit and took that podium away from you, because he came steaming up behind you. But you did some fantastic laps there and really brought it home in second place. So well done, mate.
Thank you very much. It was a good race.
Yeah, good stuff. Just on to third place, Tim Fulbrook. Third place, but you were leading for the majority of that race.
And for someone who's nowhere near as quick as these guys, really happy to be leading. I just want to shout out to Angus, obviously, teammate. We were working together, and I think we established that early on, that we had a bit of a gap and that we just needed to work together to see if we could put ourselves in a position to maybe bag a podium at the end. So just a quick word for him for driving brilliantly.
Yeah, we did see a replay, to be fair, of Angus pretty much playing the team game and letting you through into the lead. So obviously that was discussed with you guys and it was part of your plan. Nothing wrong with that, and it nearly worked out for you. You did really well to hang on as long as you did, and you made it as hard as possible for these guys. And as you say, they were both very, very quick, snapping at your heels for long enough, but you were just 2 corners shy of that second place, mate.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, to be leading onto the last lap, to be leading halfway around the lap, so close to a win. But at the same time, these guys are 4 seconds a lap faster than me, and in practice they had that gap. So, just to be holding them off a little bit on that final lap was an achievement. It was close to how clean it was, but they're just so quick. So it's I've got to try and have a Cayman that's 3 times as wide next time.
Yeah, it's not just all about the car, is it, here, Tim? It's there is a lot of talent behind the wheel as well, right throughout the grid at Simsport Racing. We get some very, very close racing, and it speaks volumes for Kieran's talent when he can come from 32nd to second, because there were quite a few incidents early on further down the field, and he's managed to avoid all of those and keep it together and be challenging for the lead at the end of the race. So I think that was good drive from him.
I mean, if you were to look at this podium, I mean, Charlie's had some up and down races, so I mean, he's going to win a race at some point. Here was his win tonight. Kieran, again, probably hasn't had the best start to this season. Here he is bagging a podium from second on the grid. 32nd, 35th, whatever he said. Cracking race, and for me to, be nowhere near these guys on pace, but to be on the podium, I'll take it.
Great stuff, mate. Well done, and looking forward to next week and seeing what you can do for round 5 of the championship, buddy. So well done. On to Regan Mitchell, who joins us in the commentary box. Regan, pilot of the Maserati. Your teammate Mr. Hedges has got a new nickname, #DaveTheDriftHedges, because he was literally sideways around most of the corners towards the end of that race, and he was really struggling. But you seem to be the master of that car, buddy.
Yeah, well, sideways is the way to go in the Maserati, a lot of them. But because of that, end of the race, we're never going to have the pace of everyone else just due to the tyre wear that causes. It's a bit sad wanting a podium and just watching it slip away because people come through.
Yeah, I suppose the Maserati is the car that you would like to probably try and start right up at the front and actually have a clean getaway and get your head down and gap everybody, so you can manage the tyres a little bit better rather than having to literally fight your way for the whole race.
Exactly, although it was really fun having to fight this time. Normally when you're fighting, you're going backwards, not forwards, so it felt really good this race.
Yeah, there was some really close battles we saw. Unfortunately, Aaron Walker had a bit of contact, got taken out. Steve Haley had some contact and sort of slowed up to give a position back, I believe. So there was a few guys sort of dropped out of the running at the front end, and we were, at one point we were sort of got top 6, 7, 8 cars all running very, very close together. So it was a good battle at Silverstone, and the track lends itself to that sort of battling, doesn't it? 'Cause it's a fast, open track, and although you're beyond the track limits, you can exceed the track limits and keep it together and keep your foot in here, so it does promote the good racing.
It does, but it also promotes locking up in the Maserati due to normally having to turn within the braking zone slightly.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job in it, as you did. Was it season 2 you ran the Maserati, or was it season 1?
It was season 1.
Season 1, yeah, and you returned to it for season 3, so you've got 2 more rounds to go with it, and then potentially, if you want to, you can change before we start again. So, do you think you will change, or do you think you'd stick with it again?
I haven't decided yet. I think changing is most likely so far.
Well done on your results tonight, mate. That was a fantastic drive from you, as ever, in what is a very difficult car. And again, fantastic drive, Charlie Crossland, Kieran Vidago and Tim Fulbrook as well for the podium. So well done, guys, and you better start practicing for next week, boys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic driving from all the boys tonight, Alex. I'm sure you'll agree.
Definitely. One of the, hands down, one of the most action-packed races I think we've ever had since I joined the community earlier on this year, back in May. But yeah, I mean, it really does open up the championship. The stewards are going to be very, very busy in their post-race evening discussion, as we normally know that does happen on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, Charlie Crossland, Kieran Vidago, Tim Fulbrook, they all did a really, really good job in their own respective ways. And now we go to Spa And that level is going to go up another notch entirely because, they're going to be running these GT4 cars around a 7-kilometre circuit that gives absolutely no quarter. You get it wrong through Eau Rouge and Radion, you could be in the barriers and your race could be done and dusted as early as lap 1. So the way that everything has sort of transpired this evening has really got my appetite well and truly whetted for Spa next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a great race, and I think there's going to be some good battles. I think, again, Steve Haley going to be starting what looks like pole position, but that KTM is going to struggle at Spa. I believe it's going to really struggle on those straights, and I think we're going to see it getting overtaken on the first lap. Hopefully I'm wrong, but just the car specs, that's what it's telling me.
Yeah, I think... there's going to be cars that will struggle. The Porsche is going to be strong there. With the Audi is going to come into its own for Aiden Bro. That remains to be seen. The Maseratis, they've got a lot of grunt, but then they're also, there's a lot of corners that really do require momentum carry and sudden changes of direction as well. When you go through Les Cormes after the Camel Straight, Malmedy, Bruxelles, Double Gauche, and then towards the far part of the track, if you've got the pace in that car and you can come out of Stavelot and absolutely literally nail it on the throttle going through Blanchimont into the bus stop chicane, you've got a car that is capable of winning. And I would say that the Mercedes could be the cat amongst the proverbial GT4 pigeons when we head to Spa-Francorchamps. So next week, 2nd of December at 8 p.m. UK time, we'll be live once again for the penultimate round of the season. And then we'll go into Brands Hatch the following week on the 9th of December to see what happens there. Of course, also, we've got our GT3 Driver Swap Championship, which will be heading to the mountain, Mount Panorama at Bathurst on the 6th of December. And then the final race weekend, just before the race evening before Christmas, the 20th of December, where we'll decide our ACC GT3 Driver Swap Champions at Autodromo Nazionale di Monza here on Simsport Racing. With an ever-expanding community, why not become a part of it? You can find us on Facebook. We have a group on there. YouTube, Twitter, Discord, Instagram. Head to simsport-racing.com for further information. And if you're watching on the official Simsport Racing YouTube channel, why not give this video a like, hit the subscription button, and also hit the notification bell. And here is our website for you all to see just right now, which also has embedded YouTube links. Also, how to join us here on our relevant communities for Discord, Facebook, and also the race community itself. You can apply for GT3 and GT4 race series. We've had some great events, such as the Jensen virtual 3 hours of Silverstone. We've also had the 12-hour Mind charity event that we held at the Nurburgring, which has all been done through us here at Simsport. If you want to be a part of the community, come and join us. And if you want to get good on Assetto Corsa Competizione in GT3 and GT4, we can help you learn those skills. And a big thank you also, we have to say a big thank you to you all watching at home, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in. A big thank you to Mike Yao from simplyrace.co.uk, who will be moving into new premises in Milton Keynes in Q1 of 2021. It has been another enthralling evening here at Simsport Racing. Steve, you got anything else to say before we close up for another evening?
No, absolutely fantastic racing. I think you just about said it all. The only thing is, if you want to join our community, like Alex said, please do, because we are hosting a fun race this Sunday evening for the GT3 cars around the new track to Assetto Corsa Competizione, which is Imola. Everyone is welcome. You just need to be a member of Discord so you can get all the information. So, on behalf of Steve Proudley and myself, Alex Goldschmidt, thank you ever so much to you all for tuning in to our 4th round out of 6 for Season 3 GT4 and Assetto Corsa Competizione here on Simsport Racing. We'll be back in just a week's time when we head to the Ardennes Forest and the iconic Spa-Francorchamps for round 5 of GT4 Season 3. You don't want to miss it. See you next week, 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Good night for now. Good night.